Welcome to the third video in the SatNOGS series of videos. In the first two videos I covered, in the first video we covered just a basic overview of the whole SatNOGS program, and then in the second video we had a look at how you could use the SatNOGS network, the SatNOGS system, to record to observe a satellite as it passes around the network of stations. In this video I just want to give an introduction to how to manage your observation station and some of the day-to-day responsibilities of running that station. So in this video there are two areas I want to cover. One is managing the hardware side of the system, and then secondly managing the software side of the system. In all setups you will have a radio or a receiver. It may be a RTL SDR dongle and the Raspberry Pi. It may also be a computer that you are using to run the software on, and at the other end of the station you would also have an aerial and antenna, whether that's a omnidirectional antenna or whether in the case like I've got is a rotating antenna. So as part of the managing your station you will need to keep an eye on these, because compared to a software listening or running an amateur radio station, most of the operations of a SatNOG system will be passive. It will run in the background. You will go about your day to day, but in the background you will have your system. Could be scheduled by anybody to record the passes. So if you have a rotator like I've got, that rotator could be working 24/7 for a matter of weeks. So you do need to do a visual inspection of the rotator to make sure that everything is still working as it should be. So that's on the outside. So you're checking your cabling, all the things that you would be doing if you're running an amateur radio station or software listening. Just need to keep your eye out, especially during the more harsh weather. It can have an effect on your outdoor equipment. Inside your inside your Radio Shack, or if it's just a spare room or an office space, you will most likely be using a Raspberry Pi. Or some people may use a computer for the SatNOGS client software, but in my case I've got a Raspberry Pi that sits just behind the monitor. So what you'll need to be mindful of is when you're operating your radio station as normal. In my case I use HF a lot, and I also use VHF and UHF. That can also mean moving the station around, unplugging things, so you just need to be careful and make sure that the Raspberry Pi is firmly plugged in and none of the cabling has been disturbed. In my case I also have a switch where I can switch between using the SatNOG system and actually using my VHF UHF radio as well. So I will switch between the two, so making sure that's always switched back on to the SatNOGs. So that's just the day-to-day management and maintenance of the hardware side of things. But aside to that, you will also have to manage the software. Make sure that the Raspberry Pi is performing as it should be, and that the SatNOGS client software is performing as it should be. So there's a few a few ways you can monitor that as well. So I'll show you that in the next few minutes and give you some tips and tricks how to monitor that system. Okay, there are a number of ways you can monitor your system, your SatNOG setup. You can do that through the browser, and also you can monitor that through your terminal as well. So if I use a system called the Thing to see what's connected to the Wi-Fi, which I'll do now, and this is my address here, 192.168.33. So if I go to here and go 192 and on port 5000, your station will produce a real-time log of what's happening. So as you can see here, as you read through this log file, you'll see that in my case it's a Raspberry Pi, but it could be a Linux computer. It actually requests any observation jobs from the network, and any new jobs it will pull that into your local system, so that you can monitor how the observations are being scheduled, but also in this window it will print if there's any errors as well. So it's worth keeping that open to look for any issues. You can also SSH into your system, and you can then monitor the logs on your system as well. So if we go to this feature here, and you can see very similar to what's printed in the browser, but with this particular view of these logs you can get a bit more detail if there's any issues. And in my case, I had some issues with a rotator when I first connected it to the system. It would not talk to the Raspberry Pi, so I used this particular way of logging to discover how to repair that. And then you can also you can monitor the system using top. So sometimes if you want to see how that Raspberry Pi is performing, you can use top, but the one that I use for much better graphical presentation of your Pi and its performance is a system called Glances. So with Glances you can keep an eye on how the system is running and if there's any critical alerts being detected. So between the browser based and then the terminal based, you can monitor the software of the system, and then with visual inspection you can monitor the conditions of your hardware. And then finally, don't forget you can also monitor your observations. So in this case we have a number of observations that people have scheduled on my station, and in most cases people will actually come and check their observations and mark them as either successful or whether it's failed to pick up any results. So for example, in this case here, this did not pick up any data or any audio from the satellite, whereas with this NOAA we did pick up some data, as you can see, and it did convert part of that into the NOAA weather map. So keeping an eye on your recordings to make sure that everything is working and then you're getting satisfactory results. On some occasions the satellite itself may not be presenting any data, any transmissions, so you will not get any recordings in some cases. But for other satellites, such as the Fox satellites, they are pretty good. They are good, solid provider of data. So we have over 20 20 pieces of data from that particular satellite. So keeping an eye on the recordings as well, to make sure that everything is working together. That was just a brief overview of how to manage the software and the hardware side of the observation station. So I hope you are enjoying these videos. Please, can you like and subscribe, and into the comments, please, can you put some suggestions of what you would like me to cover in the videos. I'm hoping that we can cover a number of parts of this topic around the SatNOGS system, and provide a good introduction so that we can get more people involved in this fantastic project. It's a great project for schools, for STEM projects, for colleges and universities, as it teaches people all about quite a number of topics. So please, can we work together and provide a good introduction into the SatNOGS. So I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.